What if the patterns in your love life weren't mistakes but invitations? What if the heartbreaks, the yearnings, the confusing push-hand pulls were all part of something deeper? In this emotionally honest and soul-nourishing video, we step into the heart of your relationships through the lens of Carl Jung's timeless insights. This isn't about blame or fixing, it's about understanding, about peeling back the layers of the unconscious to see how your inner world is shaping your outer experiences in love. Designed for self-aware women on a healing journey, this soft, poetic reflection walks you through the hidden forces of projection, shadow, anima, animus, and the archetypes quietly playing out in your romantic life. If you've ever wondered why you love the way you do or why you keep repeating certain patterns, this is a compassionate place to begin. Let this be a mirror, not a manual. A moment to breathe, reflect, and maybe forgive yourself a little more. This is your soul's love story, not just your ego's. And Jung's wisdom offers not answers, but deeper, more beautiful questions. You'll leave this video with a stronger sense of emotional intelligence, self-compassion, and clarity. You are not broken. You are becoming. Maybe the one who broke your heart wasn't your soulmate, but your mirror. Pause. Have you ever loved someone who pulled something out of you you didn't even know was there? Maybe a tenderness, or a terror. Maybe you felt seen in ways you didn't know you longed for, and abandoned in ways that cracked your chest open. Love is not always kind, not always fair, but it is always revealing. And if Carl Jung were here, sitting across from you in your favorite cafe, he wouldn't ask who left, who lied, or who didn't text back. He would ask, what part of yourself have you been searching for in them? The mirror of projection. We don't fall in love with people. We fall in love with our projections. Jung called it the anima and the animus, the inner masculine and feminine forces within us. This image. And when we meet someone who reflects that image back to us, our unconscious lights up. But that kind of love isn't love yet. It's a kind of sacred hallucination. We see not who they are, but who we need them to be. The rescuer, the muse, the mystery, the fire. We're not just dating them. We're dating a part of ourselves we've disowned. That's why it's so intense. That's why it hurts so deeply when it ends. Because we weren't just losing them. We were losing a version of ourselves we thought we'd finally found. The shadow in romance. Love brings the shadow to the surface. All the parts you buried, the neediness, the rage, the longing to be chosen, they rise in the presence of intimacy. Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. So maybe it wasn't fate that led you into that toxic dynamic. Maybe it was your shadow longing to be seen. Maybe you were never too much. Maybe someone once taught you that your desire was dangerous. And now every time you open your heart, that old wound whispers. Don't get too close. But love, real love, is shadow work. Not because it's painful, but because it's honest. Repetition isn't a curse, it's a compass. Why do I always attract emotionally unavailable people? Why do I chase? Why do I run? We ask these questions like they're punishments. But what if they're portals? Jung believed the psyche repeats until it is healed, that we unconsciously choose the same lessons, over and over, disguised in different bodies. Not because we're broken, but because our soul is persistent. So if you keep choosing the same kind of partner, maybe it's not because you're failing. Maybe it's because you're ready to heal on a deeper level, and your psyche knows that you're not cursed. You're evolving. The archetypes of love. Jung spoke often of archetypes, ancient universal patterns that live within us. The lover, the child, the orphan, the warrior, the queen. They show up in our relationships. They dance with our desires. Maybe you've dated the wounded healer, always needing fixing, or the eternal boy, charming, but never quite there. Or maybe you played the savior, or the muse. But here's the grace. Once you recognize the pattern, you're no longer ruled by it. Your love life becomes a stage for conscious choice, not unconscious repetition. You stop trying to earn love, and start embodying it. Emotional intelligence is romantic power. Let's redefine love, not as longing, not as rescue, not as chaos, but as the space where your conscious self meets another's, and sees, not saves. This is emotional intelligence. To name your needs, to hold your boundaries, to listen without defending, to feel without collapsing, to know that someone not choosing you isn't a reflection of your worth, but a reflection of their readiness. When you love from a conscious place, you no longer chase ghosts, you no longer perform, you no longer shrink or inflate, you just are. And the love that meets you there is real. If Carl Jung were writing this to you, he wouldn't give you rules. He wouldn't offer 5 steps to find the one. He would ask you to go inward, to sit with your shadows, to fall in love with your inner world before outsourcing it to another. He would remind you, the most important relationship you'll ever have is the one between your conscious self and your soul. And when you tend to that, you stop searching for love, and start becoming it.